thanks for having us. Yeah, I've learned a lot. You did a nice job, and the free talk was also You know, I did the STI talk last year, telling Dr. Because I made them stop screen. Because we don't screen anymore. And then
start the 8 prize distribution.
ही कुठे येते आपली
आणि
आणि
कुठे आहे?
मी वॉशरूमला जाऊन चल ना
क्या है आपका सब लेट होएगा लोगों के फ्लाइट से
We'll start the next session. I would like to invite our chairperson, Dr. Ravindran and Dr. Karelia to chair the next session. Topic is Beyond the Basics, Tackling Miscellaneous Challenges in HIV. Over to you, sir, for the next presentation.
Good morning, and this is the last session of today's conference, and thank you all for being still there. Today we are discussing a very important topic about the future, what is going to happen in the management of HIV/AIDS. It's not so much of the drugs, but the technologies that will change. And we have Shwetal Shah, who will talk about climate change and HIV, which is a hot political topic as well as a health topic. Then we have
ASICON welcomes Mr. Shwetal Shah. Mr. Shah is a climate change advisor currently leading the RECAP 4 NDC project in Gujarat. Mr. Shah has 16 years of experience in sustainability and environment management. His areas of expertise include climate policy, decarbonization, adaptation and mitigation strategies, and climate finance. We look forward to hear him talk on climate change and HIV.
Good morning, friends. I am little odd man out, but I hope I also have something important to communicate to all of you. So, thank you organizers for giving me this opportunity to interact with dignitaries and luminaries. So, I want to compare these two charts. So, definitely population is increasing like anything. So if we see just data of last 100 years, the growth of population has been many-fold on this earth, and on this earth, as we all know, we have limited resources, and therefore this is kind of a challenge. And this is another graph which is just of 65 years comparison of data of CO2 concentration in our atmosphere. So we are seeing that constantly the concentration of greenhouse gases are increasing in our atmosphere, and that has consequences on many things, and importantly on food, water and health. So largest source of CO2 emission in the atmosphere is the fossil fuel, and this data is of every year how much gigaton of new carbon that we are adding up in the atmosphere, and this has not gone in a static manner. It is still going up and up. So only in the COVID year we had little less emission, otherwise every year we are emitting more and more, and almost we have consumed the carbon budget that is available with us as a globe. This is about the consequences of the higher CO2 concentration. So it is directly linked with the temperature rise. So we are observing that in last 100 plus years, the global average temperature is going up and up. And as per Paris Agreement, we have global goal of limiting global warming by 1.5 degree centigrade, but by 2030, but we are already reaching up to that level, and there is no sign that we are going to manage this, because we are now seeing a new president in United States, and he is not believing in the science, and so many such politicians. So this is really an issue. So if we see the annual increase in surface temperature, then also in every season it is increasing. So like this graph shows about the temperature that is in various months of a year. Then if we see the January to December, then every month average temperature is on a higher side, whether it is winter or summer. But major observation is that 93% of heat that is excess in the atmosphere is so far tapped by the ocean. So concentration of ocean is also now at the limit. So right now we are not observing the consequences that we should have observed, but because of the ocean, it consumed the heat that is extra in the atmosphere, but now it has also gone into crossing its threshold, and therefore there are chances that we will now observe more climate-induced disaster in the coming future. So if we see where heat is kindly absorbed, which is extra, so most of the heat are trapped in the ocean, then ice and land and atmosphere, and the the amount of energy that is stored in ocean, as I told, is in last less than last 20 years. So this is kind of increasing more and more as time passes. Oceans are more acidic because CO2 is getting dissolved into the ocean water. So as a consequence of this global warming, what we are observing is the disruption in food supply, water, and global health. So right now we are more focusing on health issues. So if I talk about the impact of climate change on health, then there are several things. So increase in vector-borne disease, increase in the consequences because of the higher air pollution, allergies, waterborne disease, mental health, heat stress, and heat-related health issues. So these all are really increasing, and it's evident through the empirical data that yes, all these consequences are really happening in our society with all of us. And if we talk about specifically about HIV, then HIV patients are vulnerable, and because of climate change, their vulnerability increases, and therefore climate change is also an issue for them. So now it is duty of all of us to do something for climate change so that these vulnerabilities are reduced. Then as we know that we consume water in all our activities, whether it is drinking, whether it is agriculture, energy, industry, or animal farming. So water scarcity is also impacting all these operations, and we are drawing more and more groundwater, but it is not also sustainable. And as we increase the use of water, it has also direct relation with higher use of energy. So this is a kind of vicious cycle that we use more energy and we emit more carbon, and that lead to the impact of climate change more and more, because the major source of greenhouse gas emission is the energy use. water availability is a major constraint on human society's ability to meet the future food and energy needs of growing population. And as we know that our populations are increasing, and it is also still projected to increase till 2050. If we see about glacier melt, then this is also quite alarming, because in last 50 years we have observed about 800 gigaton of annual loss of glaciers, and there is no sign that it is improving anytime in last 50 years. So these are some of the indicators that how climate change is impacting, because glaciers are so remotely placed that as a common man we don't see it while we travel around, but through satellite data these are observed. Similar is case with the sea level rise. The rate of ice melt in the Himalayas has doubled since the year 2000. So it's not a natural process. So the amount of ice restored is less than what amount of ice is melt every year. Otherwise, it's a annual cycle that there is some time in a year where ice is deposited, and then our rivers carry the water throughout the year. But there is a disruption here. So 80% of Himalayan glacier could melt by year 2100, which is now not very distinct future time, but maybe in the lifetime of next generation. So this glacier provide say water to almost 1/4 of global population. So we can just imagine, because we can relate this data. So I'm just more focusing on the data which is around our country. Similarly is the impact of climate change on food, and because of the erratic pattern of weather, we require more inputs. So whether it is pesticides, whether it is water, or whatever input are required. So we control disease, we control pest. So we feel that we have enough food, but it is not like that. The input that is required to generate this food is really consuming more and more resources, and those again puts pressure on emission, because every thing that we manage artificially has something to do with our emission. So what we can do? So these are some of the things that should be that should be promoted for the better food security. So we are talking about organic farming, we are talking about regenerative farming, we are talking about balancing nutrition, because some of the key nutrients of our daily need comes from our food, but we have changed it, and therefore we require more and more supplements through our medicines. So which is not a good sign, because every medicine is again extra chemical in our life. So, and there is also a lot of food wastage. So we should respect food, and I think that is one of the very key thing for all of us, because if we see that for our consumption we kill billions of animals every year, and this is also a major contribution to the methane and the greenhouse gases. So almost 25% of our emission is because of the animal agriculture, and we consume lot many more animals than the human population on the earth. So if we are 8 billion on the earth, we consume many times of that, almost 10-15 times of our number of population. We consume number of animals, which is also a very major reason behind the climate change. So we should not waste food, and we should really control this, because we see that we are wasting, say, one roti, but it is not one roti. There is so much of pesticides, so much of fertilizer, so much of energy in transporting those stuff to your plate requires energy. So embodied energy in such wastage is very high. There is also a very significant and visible impact on biodiversity. And biodiversity is very essential because we take many services of this biodiversity that we never know. Because as a doctor fraternity, you must be knowing that how many types of microorganisms are there in our body. And all these microorganisms support function of our body, whether it is digestion or whatever. So similarly, there are several flora, fauna, microorganisms are outside in the ecosystem, and this earth is also home of them, and they also have right, but really, if we see the data, then humanity has already caused loss of 83% of wild mammals and half of plants in last few centuries. And we now risk losing up to 50% of all land-based species in this century. This rate is ongoing. So if I just give an example of honeybee, so only one creature has a major role to play in our food system or our fruits and flower pollination. So if honeybee is disappeared from the earth, then everything, including 8 billion population of human, can vanish in 40 years. So these are only one example, but there are several such things that we don't know even. So these are also some of the data about business usual projection. So the bottom line is the rate. If it is continued, then what will be the loss by the year 2100. So we require to also give attention to some of such crises that we are facing. Now what should we do then? So we know the problem. So one of the good solution is nature-based solution. So whatever we can go back to basic, whatever we can live without chemical, without energy, without artificial things, then it is better. So for example, if we can live without air condition, then it is a better situation. So on. So nature has a very good assimilation capacity. So whatever ways we can control temperature or water quality and everything, then we should try to go for nature-based solution than artificial solution, because artificial solution are for less time or for only some time, but cannot be a permanent solution. So right now I am working on FLR project, forest landscape restoration. So landscape is a kind of mosaic, so which includes the roads, buildings, infrastructure, lakes, trees, forest. So if we take, for example, Gujarat as a landscape, then we have 1600 kilometer long coastline, and we have few forests like famous Gir forest or white desert, or maybe eastern belt where we have some greenery. So we have to preserve this thing, and we have to increase. So we have seen that roadside plantation or even the urban plantations are disappearing. Our builders are saying garden view and all, but that garden is not really a garden. So we spend a lot of money for other things, but not for the nature-based solution. So how we can also focus this thing in our life, which is also essential, because we can't live without oxygen for a second, and oxygen cannot be produced by any machine or any medicine or any pharma company, but it has to be produced by the nature. So this is a very fundamental thought to start with, but we never give emphasis to this thing. So FLR is a process, forest landscape restoration. So now it is time to restore things. So we have to restore from where we get everything. So nature gives us food, fiber, oxygen and everything. So it is our duty, and basically we have observed that soil carbon is also disappearing. So we have to improve our soil. Otherwise it will have major consequences, and we do not count this environmental or ecosystem services in monetary terms. we count everything in money, but we don't count the say oxygen or water that we consume in our daily life, because we know we get electricity bill from the utility every month, or we get our petrol bill or so on, but we don't get bill for our oxygen that we consume. So if we start calculating those things, then only we could understand, because human race has advanced so much that it only thinks of money in the this thing. So these are India's nationally determined contribution, and our Prime Minister has also give us the message of mission life, lifestyle for environment. So basically it is all about the lifestyle that we require to look at. But in our capitalist calculation, this don't fit very much. So we also have some other targets, that is about renewable energy. So we want to achieve a great amount of renewable energy in our total energy basket by 2030, and by 2070 we want to be net zero at India level. By 2050 it is a goal that we become net zero at global level. So we have to reduce our dependence on fossil fuel, and we have to go to renewable energy or bioenergy. Similarly, we also have a target to create more carbon sink. So we want to enhance carbon sink by 2.5 to 3 million ton, but that will again require some efforts, because more and more land use change is happening, and we are converting the land use, which is either forest or agriculture, to non-forestry or non-agriculture purpose. So mission life is basically anything that we can contribute towards nature or reduce the use of resources. So it also talks about reduce, reuse and recycle and circular economy and so on. So for example, like now in medical fraternity we focus on disposable thing. Earlier it was not there. Earlier we used to reuse even the injections or the syringe and reuse for many time, but now we feel that it's time consuming and it takes so much of effort. But we have to think that what much amount can we consume more and more. So basically it's role of everyone of society, and whatever role God has given to us, we should also think about the environment and take into account it holistically. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for the nice lecture. We'll have the questions at the end of the session, so I request you to be around.
So the next topic is quite innovative and interesting. It's a revolutionary topic. For that, I would like to invite Dr. Rohan Desai.
Welcomes Dr. Rohan Desai, founder of Flex Assembly, a professional networking platform for doctors, and Medflix, a live learning platform, demonstrating his commitment to leveraging technology in healthcare. Dr. Desai uniquely combines medical training MBBS with a business education MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, bridging the gap between healthcare and entrepreneurship. Dr. Desai is the course director for AI for Clinical Professionals, a popular course on artificial intelligence in medicine, showcasing his expertise in this emerging field. We look forward to hear him talk on AI and infectious diseases clinical practice.
Hi, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. My name is Rohan. Good morning to all of you, and thank you, Dr. Toshniwal sir and Dr. Atul bhai for inviting me here. It's a very wide topic. We'll try to cover as much as we can. We'll go a little fast. I think my introduction was there, so I'll just move to the next slide. There's a very famous quote by Lenin which says that there are decades where nothing happens, and then there are weeks where decades happen. It's not even been 3 years since ChatGPT was launched. It was launched about 2.5 years back, and things have changed very, very rapidly in the last couple of years. So this is a graphic which shows how rapidly some of our popular platforms raced to 100 million users. It took 3.5 years for WhatsApp to reach 100 million users, and ChatGPT reached 100 million users in 2 months. Right now it's at about 400 million users. This is exactly what you mean by weeks where decades happen. Like it took Netflix a decade to reach 100 million users, and it took ChatGPT weeks. Lot of things are happening, like the generative AI tools are able to clear USMLE, they are able to clear the Wharton MBA. There are AI models which are outperforming pathologists in predicting metastasis in non-small cell lung cancer. There are AI tools which are being developed right now to predict the risk of suicide in patients who are admitting with history of self-harm. Coming to infectious disease, this has been an interesting development. So, Acinetobacter baumannii was it's a notoriously multi-drug resistant organism, and very recently, so just about a year back, scientists developed a molecule called abaucin which is a narrow spectrum agent against this microorganism. And the interesting thing was this was AI generated. So how did they do this? This is a screenshot from the paper itself. So what they did is, so the blue funnel up is the training funnel. So what the researchers did is they took 7,500 molecules, known molecules, and they tried to inhibit the growth of A. baumannii with these 7,500 molecules. So obviously there would be a spectrum. Some molecules would not inhibit, some would inhibit, some would fully inhibit, or things like that. This data was fed into the machine learning model, and the machine learning model now begins to understand what type of molecular structures can potentially inhibit this organism. The red funnel is then the prediction funnel. So the algorithm is then predicting some molecules. These molecules don't exist. They're not there today. So these molecules are predicted, and abaucin was one such molecule. And it's a narrow spectrum. It acts only against this molecule. So it's incredible what kind of things are happening. Something like this, typically with your traditional drug development model, would take 5 years. 3 to 5 years or maybe more. It takes approximately $3 to $5 billion to innovate one new molecule. So the amount of evolution which we hope to see in new novel therapeutic agents is the biggest hope from AI. So the question arises, and I can go on and on. There are at least 10 other such stories where some mind-boggling things are happening. So the question arises, why now? What happened? What suddenly happened in 2022 when ChatGPT was launched? So the answer is two things happened. So firstly, there were so three things are needed to make these kind of magic happen. So one is hardware, one is data, and third is the human mind, which actually creates these things, right? So the human mind has been there. AI is at least a 70-year-old term. It was coined in the 1950s, so AI is not new. So humans have been there. What was missing was data and tremendously potent chips. So the chips have been getting stronger. The transistors and the microprocessors have been getting stronger every 2 years for the last 50 years. But suddenly things just completely changed in the last 10 years. So NVIDIA, which was traditionally a graphics company, which traditionally created GPUs for screen displays, now suddenly they are creating chips for computing. This was a brainwave, and this has increased the compute possibility from like 100x. The other parallel thing which happened is today the world has way more data than we ever had. What kind of data? So everything, like when you use Google Maps to go from place A to place B, you've generated a lot of data. When you use Zomato to order a dish, you've generated a lot of data. When you post on social media, on Reddit or Instagram or Twitter, or when you even read on Instagram or Twitter, you're generating data. So somewhere someone is knowing, what's working, what's not working, what's happening in the world. All this data is used to train these systems, and these systems are getting smarter. So these two things fundamentally have changed. Now, the next three slides slightly text dense, but that is the that's the kind of work that's happening. It's just extremely complex. It's very difficult for us to even understand a lot of this because it's very, very high tech. It's very deep. People who are working on every sub bullet point are just working on that sub bullet point. So it does not even do justice to the kind of work that's happening. But let me just, for the next 3 minutes, for the next 3 slides, I'll just look at what AI is doing in infectious disease care. So this section is AI in infectious disease care. The next section is AI in infectious disease practice. The next section will be much more relevant to all of us here because that is about things we can actually do as practitioners. But this section is important. So in infectious disease care, what's happening is starting with epidemiology. So a lot of Bayesian algorithms and infectious disease dynamics, etc., are being used to forecast disease outbreaks. Next time, hopefully, when COVID happens, we'll be even better at predicting the disease outbreak, the outbreak evolution, the speed at which it will evolve, where it will peak, and so on. Even intra-hospital spread and cross-hospital spread. So in epidemiology, there is a lot of AI that is being used. In the study of lateral infection mechanism, which was traditionally a mouse model, or there are ethical concerns, and it is expensive and it is time-consuming. A lot of simulations using toolbox of Hemophilus, Pisto. A lot of these things are combined with newer advancements to enhance our understanding, and which eventually feeds into drug development. Efficacy and accuracy of pathogen identification. So we have our normal tools for diagnosis. There are lots of advances being made in which are being demonstrated so far in Staph aureus and Streptococcus, also in TB diagnosis, and antimicrobial susceptibility testing, genome sequencing. Drug discovery, we've seen one example, but in drug discovery, there are 2-3 approaches to it. So the first is to identify bioactive targets itself, not to identify molecules, but to just identify bioactive targets, which itself can open up a whole new box of possibilities. Then to expand the chemical space of broad spectrum antibiotics. In tuberculosis, they have identified key enzyme inhibitors, again using purely AI. So a lot of work happening in drug discovery and development. Bexsero is one vaccine which was developed using artificial intelligence. So a lot of advances with reverse vaccinology and so on. But this is an interesting one where we can probably spend a minute. So AI-assisted clinical decision support. So in children with respiratory syncytial virus and pertussis, just combining clinical symptoms with lab tests, giving a pretty strong predictive ability to diagnose RSV and pertussis. In fever of unknown origin, using just age and sex as the input models, pretty good models are being developed to identify etiology in fever of unknown origin. In patients with CAP, predicting the risk of MRSA infection is where, again, this has been shown reasonable success. And finally, the last point is also very interesting. There are models which actually predict allergy to antimicrobials in patients. So you could, just switch before that allergy has happened. So this is all the, AI infectious disease care. This is a very good review article which covers a lot of this in much more detail. So if you want details about any of the preceding 3 slides, just this paper in Frontiers, just take a screenshot so that you can use it. But this is a good paper. So next, coming to AI in infectious disease practice. How can we, all of these things are happening, they will keep happening, diagnosis will keep getting better, epidemiology will keep getting better. But as far as our practice is concerned, there are a few areas where there are tools which are very much here and now. Most tools are free or really cost effective. So there are broadly 6 areas where, I don't see the timer, how much time? Yeah, I think because we switched the laptop. So, but anyway, let me know when I have 2 minutes remaining. I anyway anticipate that we can only cover the top 2 today. So in learning, I think AI tools which are available today are very, very powerful. So they can, let's look at some use cases. So most of you are aware of ChatGPT, may not have used it, may have used it casually. just go to chatgpt.com, sign up with with your email address. It's free of cost. There is, for the free model, there are no charges. So one typical example of how you would use it. This is a prompt. Can you list the most recent clinical guidelines for EBD? Or can you share the 3 most recent important clinical trials in infectious disease practice? I'll just show how it works. So this is how the ChatGPT interface would look like, and this area where I'm typing is where you put your prompt or your instruction. So if you just put a simple prompt here, can you share the latest EBD guidelines? And I just elaborate that EBD stands for Ebola because it can get confused. Indian and international. So it's pretty fast. A lot of times, most of the times it is correct, and we'll look at the limitations and everything. But this is probably there's probably some internet issue, but this is probably the fastest way today to learn something. Learn a new guideline, learn a new trial, the latest 3 trials in HIV management, let's say. We might be restricted by my internet. That's okay. So these are the kind of prompts, like the recent guidelines, the 3 most recent trials. Learning a topic, if you want to learn a topic itself from scratch, just put that topic in. Learning a whole new subject. So if there is a new subject which is emerging in your field, you can actually go to ChatGPT. You can say, this is a topic this is a subject I'm interested in. So let's take an example of biostatistics here. Let's say you've been, very absorbed in clinical practice, and you have a lot of data, very interested in publishing, but never picked up on publishing post TSM days. So go to ChatGPT, put this instruction in that over the next 30 days, I want to learn biostatistics and be my personal tutor. Spend 30 minutes with me every day, give me data sets, and take me through this entire journey. My objective is that by the end of it, I want to understand which tests can be applied where, what is significance, and so on. So write a longish prompt. Every day, whenever you go to ChatGPT, whenever you go to that window, it will pick up from there. The beauty of this is that this is now, we are reaching an era of N of 1 education. It's a personalized education. Like my journey in learning biostatistics will be different from your journey in learning biostatistics. If you start from intermediate level, the tool in just a matter of minutes, it will take you to an intermediate level and then move you forward from there. And if I am very preliminary in my understanding of math, it will spend more time at the foundational level. So this is N of 1 education, which has been a dream forever for us. So learning a whole new subject, summarizing documents, all the recent guidelines. If you just upload a 30-page, 40-page document, and if you just say summarize this or summarize the clinical findings of this or whatever, it's extremely good at it. These are areas where it doesn't make mistakes. Summarizing a video. So I summarized this video from ASICON only. This was a couple of years back, but this is the website. It's called summarize.tech. Generally, most of these AI tools cannot summarize videos, but if you go to this special website called summarize.tech, and again, this is free. This does not require login. There are no charges at all. Just give the YouTube video link, and it will give you a timestamped summary of that entire video. And it's not a transcript; it's a summary. So you don't have to read the whole thing. It's a beautiful summary of this video. Searching a document again. So as against summarizing a document, searching a document is a very powerful thing. I'll definitely show this 1 second. So I had this here, Ebola. So I had attached this document. It's the same document which we have attached here. And I just said, based on this document, which country had the most number of Ebola outbreaks and which country had the worst case fatality rate. And the instant answer is country with most Ebola outbreaks is DRC, and these are the years. And country with the worst CFR is, highest recorded CFR occurred in Uganda, but it was 1 case and 1 death. South Africa, 1 case and 1 death. So it also understands that 100% CFR with 1 case is not really very useful. So it says that among larger outbreaks, the Congo outbreak in 2003 had a CFR of 90%. And if I show you the file, this is the file. So this is the file. And the last page is this data. So this is the data. So it fetched the data from this. So Uganda 1 and so on. So it's very effective in searching a document, and you can ask for any piece of information. Just that when you write something on ChatGPT or Cloud or wherever, then one option is that you just say summarize this document or give me a presentation on X topic. But the better way of writing prompts is at least include a few more things. So context is very important. So when you write a prompt, let's say you want to create a presentation outline on a new topic, it's very important to give the context. What is your difficulty level? Who's your audience? Are you presenting this to a DM audience, to a GP audience, to a layman patient audience? It's very important to give that context. You also want to specify that this is going to be a 10-minute talk, a 30-minute talk, or a workshop. You have to specify some output things like give me a table, give me a list, and so on. So specify the length that you are expecting and give feedback. ChatGPT and all these tools are not one-shot tools. Like you give a prompt, it gives you something, then you give it feedback. You can say make it slower, make it faster, make it more concise, make it elaborate on this point. So give it feedback, and the answers will be very usable. So prominent alternatives to ChatGPT, and all these are free. Like all of them have a free layer. So and all of them have a paid layer. So the paid layer for every platform is about $20 a month, which is about 1,800 to 2,000 rupees a month. But one option is to use a free layer for all of these tools, and all the free limits are reset every 24 hours. So today, if I'm using ChatGPT in the morning, and let's say by noon the limits are out, then go to Perplexity for the rest of your day. Go to Claude for the rest of your day, and tomorrow morning again the limits are reset. So I think I'll have to stop. But Meta is something which is available on WhatsApp, and so is ChatGPT. So this is a typical prompt if you want to create a presentation outline. So this is setting the context. You are a senior ID specialist with 25 years of experience practicing in Ahmedabad. You wish to deliver a lecture on emergence of novel pathogens to an audience of medicine residents. Please prepare a detailed outline for a 20-minute talk, cover important points, focus on practical implications, be evidence-based, cite only credible sources. So you give this kind of prompt to the tool, and what you will get back will be way better than if you just say, hey, give me a presentation on novel pathogens. So just specify in detail. Before we end, just one final thing. Yeah, I think limitations are real. There are a lot of biases in the way the models are trained. They are outdated a lot of the time. So be very careful when you use any of these generative AI tools. One thumb rule: use it in your area of expertise, and so even if it goes wrong, you'll understand that this is a mistake. If you start using it in neurology or oncology or things which you are not yourself very aware of, then you will never know when it is misleading you. So my thumb rule is use it in your area of expertise, and you are fine. Just one tool I want to show. So in clinical pathways, there are a lot of tools for differential diagnosis and all, which are fine. But one tool which is incredible, which is free of cost. There was a disease called idiopathic multicentric Castleman disease, IMCD. Rare disease, doesn't have a treatment. Patient had given up hope, and they used a tool called TXGNN. This is a free tool. I'll just show you in the next slide to come back with a recommendation of an existing drug. So in the first one, we saw that a completely new molecule was invented. But here, you already have a list of tens of thousands of molecules which we are using. And this tool is just telling you this molecule might actually be useful for this disease. I'll show you an example here. So this is the website, you can note it down, txgnn.org. It's a free website, no login, nothing required. On the left hand side, here, you can put your disease that you're looking for. So let's say HIV infectious disease is the disease I'm looking for a treatment for. My patient is not responding to usual. Here you see the drugs which are all, so the green tick mark tells you that it's a known indication, it's an FDA approved indication of this drug for this disease. So, and for me, all of these have failed. Here I see one drug called estramustin. There is no green check next to it. So estramustin is not indicated for HIV infected
Dr.
people.
Rohan, we are out of time.
Yes, just one last. And here it shows a 0.998 correlation for this drug. This is a prediction. And on the right hand side, it will tell you full branching, that why does the AI think that estramustin, which is an anti-neoplastic agent, will actually work in HIV infection. Every information is given. So I invite you to go and try this tool in non-responsive patients and see if it does make sense. I think I'll end that. There's a lot more, but will definitely. So there is more that AI does, like in academic work, presentations, quizzes, in research review of literature, creating protocols, creating questionnaires, friends, everything. But thank you. Yeah. If you want to do the full thing, there is a course on AI online. Just feel free to use that. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rohan, for the excellent talk that you have given. Now I call upon Dr. Sam to give a talk on how to build networks. We talk globally when we talk about climate change. When I used AI, it became individual. Now we are now trying to see how we can translate it to helping our patients.
ASICON welcomes Dr. CAPRISA. Dr. Shah is the Country Program Director of AHF India Cares. Dr. CAPRISA has over 2 decades of experience in public health policy. He has designed programs benefiting PLHA and marginalized sexual minorities in India. Dr. Shah has worked with WHO, UNAIDS, and UNICEF on polio eradication and health system strengthening. Dr. Shah initiated India's first national free condom store and moonlight HIV testing. We look forward in hearing him talk on your intervention approaches for reaching the last mile, a healthcare provider network approach.
Yeah, thank you, and I think this is the last presentation. On my way to the stage, Dr.G.D sir was saying, Sam Condom. Then I said, no sir, I'm better known as Dr. Condom. Right? So, this session is very interesting, by the way, because we are talking about, let me put my basket here, okay, so that I know everybody would see it. But let me just put it this way, that this is the very last session and also very interesting. It said, going away from the basics, but we went to climate change, we went to AI. That is a wonderful presentation by Desai, Dr. Desai, and also I want to come back to the basics. And then I was shocked in the morning, a little bit shocked when I listened to a very learned one of our senior colleagues saying that condom doesn't work. It was like, oh my God, okay, let's all come back to the basics primarily. Okay, so, okay, there you go. What is the condom basket doing in a doctor's conference with ASICON? Dr. Gilada would be thinking, was it a mistake, calling him Dr. Sam and AHF to this forum, right? No. So, we'll go back. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Condom, by the way. And we'll go back. Let me help him, otherwise he's going to prepare for it. Yeah. Anyway, so why this topic and why this presentation? I'm from AIDS Healthcare Foundation. We have a booth there. You would have seen, most of us who have visited the booth area would have seen condom mannequin, as well as some of the prompts that we use like this. And trying to bring back, it's not about condom sales, never about condom sales, never about condom marketing. But so many models that we are piloting in this country to bring back the focus on the very basic primary prevention activities, as well as going into the next level of activities. Here I'm going to introduce something called the Swift Clinic Network that we're launching, We have got thanks to Dr. Gururaja, sir, so many people and the clinics have joined with us in saying that, okay, sexual wellness initiatives and fast-tracking treatment is a way to go. And we are a non-profit, by the way. We don't take any money. We do free services. So one of the things that again I heard in this conference is that why are these guys coming and giving free condoms and free treatment and free testing? You should charge for that. We don't do that. We are an NGO. We are a non-profit. So whenever we see clients, who have worn out their entire resources after going into treatment with physicians and STA specialists, as well as the quacks, they come back to us and say, sir, पिछले 7 सालों से ना मेरा पूरा खजाना हो गया है, अभी तो मेरे पास कुछ भी नहीं है, मुझे दवाई दे दो. The thing is that they deplete all the resources and then come back to us. But again, let me go forward. AHF believes in 3 pillars of HIV, which is prevention, testing, and treatment. Of course, on the screen you can see that the prevention part is definitely starting with condoms. I have the basket here. I do have the originals here. Okay, so if anybody wants, it is available. Anyway, so going forward, prevention, why and how. The main problem with prevention and with condoms is that there is an inherent stigma. Nobody wants to talk about condoms. The doctors, we have done a study where it says doctors are the most reluctant community to talk about condoms. They are, and definitely from the other specialities especially. If you are a HIV specialist or an STA specialist, you are okay, you are good to go. Even a gynecologist, okay. Yeah, some other IT specialist, okay. But others, no way. Nobody is going to talk about condoms. Okay, but again, why do we have to have destigmatizing condoms? Because, and how do we do it? Is that nobody wants to know who is taking the condom. So we came out with the first free online condom store in India. All that you have to do is go to this website or pick up your phone number, your telephone and call us on a toll-free number and say that this is my preferred address. Many people might not be even comfortable taking the condoms delivery in their own addresses, probably, because it's a very uncomfortable situation. Say ladies hostel, for example. This is the worst example I can think of. But a lady in a ladies hostel, she doesn't want to bring the box of condoms to a ladies hostel, right? So maybe a friend's house. That's why we go for the preferred address one. We started off with a 1 million condom bank, and in 69 days, the entire condoms got depleted across the country. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari to Assam to Gujarat, it went, all depleted. Anyway, so we have a big, huge number of chunks of condoms which we have been supplying free of cost in this country. Post-exposure prophylaxis, of course, and awareness sessions, we do take care of those kind of things also. Again, what are we doing here? You would have seen the condom man here, the condom mask, the mannequin there. Again, some of my colleagues are, distributing the, things about, the news about all this, along with some condoms here. I'm not, I'm not a condom company manufacturer, neither I am, I'm promoting condoms here, neither I am promiscuity is being promoted, that is what people say. When we talk about condoms, we always say, oh, it's going to be, proposing promiscuity in the country, you are going to encourage it. Never. So these are the online free condoms. So these are some of the models and the vectors, the props that we use to attract and, grab the attention of the community. Also, we give out, in public, meetings and all that. That the center photo is in Center Park in CP, in Delhi, New Delhi, where we do International Condom Day. By the way, everybody knows about February 14th. Everyone? Valentine's Day. What is February 13th?
Condom Day.
International Condom Day, exactly. Only Dr. G.D. sir is answering that. So, February 13th is International Condom Day. Why? Because from February 1st onwards, there is a research showing that the condom sale is going up. And it peaks by 13, 14, and then goes to a plateau going down again by the end of the month. So there is definitely, the commercial world is actually prompting everyone to kind of, say that you should make love, you should have sex. But then we are, dovetailing that idea and saying that make love, safe love, okay? That's why we put International Condom Day on the 13th. Anyway, second pillar of our program is rapid testing program. The CBS rollout happened, Sachdeva sir is here very much on the very first row. Thank you, sir, for evaluating our model. We did this model for the last almost 15 years, and then CBS rollout also happened. So community-based screening programs. We are not talking about those people who are coming to you in your clinics or going to the ART centers. There is a multitude, millions of people who are never accessing testing, HIV testing with high risk, behaviors, and they don't know about condoms. They don't have access about condoms. We are talking about those kind of people, going into their communities in certain states, which we have prioritized according to NACO, National AIDS Control Organization. And the results are astounding. When the nation says we have 0.20 as HIV prevalence, everybody knows that. In our centers, in our testing, we are getting 1.7% to 2.5% positivity in our rapid testing programs. From, again, the comparison is 0.2 to almost 2%. Average is around 1.6%. So the volume of infections that are there in the community hidden is very, very, very high. Now, that's what I wanted to represent on. And how many people are linked? We have almost around 83% linkage. Now again, what do you mean by moonlight testing? Mainstreaming out of network, layman IDUs, gays, hidras and transgender. It's nothing but a van, a mobile testing van in the night. Why in the night? Because NACO and all the service providers work during, the official work hours is something like 8 to 2 or 8 to 3 or 9 to 3. But we know this is India, this is our own country, so we know how all that pans out. Finally, people shut shop by around 2 p.m. And that's the time when a transgender or a sex worker actually wakes up, gets her food or does makeup and go to and hit the streets by around evening, and then this hot spots and sites where sex work is still happening. Much of it has gone to the mobile mode, where you are supposed to even pay in advance for your happy ending, as they call it. Okay, I don't know how many of us know all these terms and want to talk about all these terms in public, but then happy endings are only with happy advance payments these days through GPays. Anyway, but this model goes to the communities, in the village, in the rural communities, and then when we test, we have shocking results. Our test results are something to the tune of 30%. If it is a community, hovering around ISBT, interstate bus terminuses, near the railway stations, near public toilets and bathrooms, gays, hidras and transgenders, they are the population and sex workers hovering around to solicit sex and make their money out of that. So these models are working, and some of the governments, state governments have taken it up. I would rather request any of you, if you have an NGO partnership, can actually take up these kind of things for further, disseminating the idea and testing in public through these models. This is how we do it, in many, that's the last, the photograph shows about testing during COVID. We did not even, stop testing during COVID. You know why? Because COVID was a big opportunity for HIV and STIs to actually spread. We think it is a closed down, nothing is working. No. People, people came up with ideas how to do, solicit sex during those lockdowns also. And especially the communities which were, holed up in houses and apartments, they used to get, people like the policemen, don't even say that, I don't know whether there are any policemen here. I'm not demeaning anyone here. It's a public community, it's part of our community. So they used to come and visit these people inside. The lockdown keepers are the ones who actually went in and had sex with them. So we have very interesting, research findings on that. Again, our definitely Honorable J.P. Naddaji was there to see our model, and then to say that, he was very much elated, saying that, okay, this is one model that we need the whole country to replicate, So he came out and said, why can't we do this? We can just have some ambulances, or labs going into the public, into communities where there's a lot of sex work happening, and then we can do the testing. So just to showcase that. Now access to treatment. Now we are talking about treatment and ART and all that. So this is one center in Delhi, in Lajpat Nagar. We have a 5-story building with a state-of-the-art technology filled clinic. We have around 4,000 clients here. We only call them clients because we are service providers and they are our clients. So we don't use the name usually patients. and sometimes it comes out of our mouth, but then we are very conscious about the service part of it. And there is another one where Dr. Mittal, who is among us, is also managing. That is in Navi Mumbai. We have a 30-bedded IP care. All of the services are free. Whenever I say that, all of our colleagues who are coming there saying, Dr. why you are giving it free? You're taking away our bread and butter out of the. No, it is not like that. We are catering to people who don't have the resources. They are very poor and they can't they go to any other place. They can go to a ART center for sure, a government ART center, but then they don't have the stigma, fear and other things, it's a personal choice. We don't cajole anybody. I don't have a target, okay? I don't have, okay, you have to test 3,000 people. No. Whoever comes in, we, take them in. And, we also do outpatient services, like, for example, satellite clinics, as we call them, in a place called Narela in Delhi. It's an industrial hub and a lot of migrant populations are there. So now we know the drivers of the epidemic is again, where it is concentrated, Yeah. So, I'll try to quickly go ahead. Clinic network. So why we are here and why this presentation is because we would love to have people like you, doctors, private clinics, hospitals across India where you think that, this patient, I need to help him, but he is not able to carry out, his treatment or any of the services that we do. So the objective is to democratize the sexual wellness and sexual health services across India, which doesn't mean free, but then, take it forward. So we are looking forward to having clinics, networks. We will be in touch with you. Many of our doctors have come here and then registered with us during the 3 days of the conference. And these are the, services that we are offering. We are offering free sexual health education, consultation, diagnostic services, biomedical therapy, treatment, and medication access. But you can treat your clients if they are having the wherewithal or the the money to go through it. But then if you think that there is nothing that the patient can do, send them to a medical ART center, government, or you can contact us. So we are trying to destigmatize sexual health, empathy and acceptance and community impact. This is what the future looks like. You can scan this, and then I encourage all the young doctors, especially the ones who are here, to kind of look at how we can partner. To Dr. Desai, I have a request. We need to work together to see, I don't want this conference to go with the message that the condom is not working. Because I heard somebody blatantly talking that condom to kaam hi nahi karte. That no, So probably that is the, one of the areas that we can work and say, analyze with the tool of, help of AI.
It does not work for him.
Yeah, maybe that is true. Yeah, so anyway, so we have a lot of things to do in the social part of the HIV, the eradication of it, if I may say eradication, because we had all the 2030 targets, now we are going, I think, to 2060, we don't know. So anyway, so thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope, after this session, there are so many files there. People are looking at the condoms and putting it in the glass there. I can see that from here itself. Nobody wants to carry the condoms at least. But be assured that if you contact us, we can actually give you a free pull-out kiosk which you can install in your clinic, in your premises, wherever it is in your practice, and then people can actually take condoms out. You don't have to push for it, but there is a visibility so that access is there, and definitely condom prevents so many infections. Thank you so much.
Any questions?
No questions will be at the end of the session. Can I?
It's done.
There is Dr. Pavan is supposed to talk.
This is the last. It was the last session.
There are no more speakers. Can I ask the audience to ask questions specifically to the speaker and address it to the point? Please identify yourself. Post the question to the speaker.
Thank you very much, Sam, for a passionate presentation. when the condom awareness started, HIV awareness started. I'm talking about 1985-86, and then we did a survey amongst dermatologists, because I'm a dermatologist. 200 dermatologists, we asked them questions that should we regulate STD control, should we start promoting condom? 90% said no, and I asked them question why. They said we are axing our own feet. If condom is used, STDs are controlled, then why do we exist? And I think same thing happened after 20 years. A lot of STD specialists vanished. They started their practice as a cosmetologist. They were no more practicing STD, but STD going again. And second thing what we did was, in the dermatologist conference we asked them, we distributed condoms, asked them to blow. And they blow. And we gave a first prize, second prize, third prize, who has blown higher. And I made a simple request. I said, you are putting condom where you should not put it, and you are not putting where you should have put it. And that works. And then similar lot of things what we have done. We started in red light area, even condomizing microphone, talking to that. I think we have to do that kind of awareness campaign, and that's the reason that we are able to control HIV in a very big way in the red light area, and from there to the population, similarly in community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.